Hi there, welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how you can connect your BigQuery database with Bubble, so you can pull through data from BigQuery into Bubble, and you can run, any query that you want in order to manipulate the data however you want and bring it into Bubble. So in this example, we're going to be using a very, very small data set about some animals, and I've got this very, very basic page built here in Bubble, and we are going to have a table where we're going to display the information. So we are going to be using make for this to connect BigQuery and Bubble. We're not going to be directly using the API. We're going to be going through make. So the first step is here in Bubble, we're going to go into plugins, and we're going to make sure we've got the API connector plugin installed. Where is it? Did I scroll past it? API connector. There we go. Install that. Okay. We're going to add an API, and we're going to call this one BigQuery animal test, is what we're going to call it. Expand that out. That's fine. We'll have to come back to this in just a second. Now I'm going to go over to my make account. You can see I've got a new make account. I'm going to create a scenario. And I'm going to, thank you. I'm going to start it with a custom webhook. So it's going to be triggered when a webhook is fired. So let's create a webhook, and let's say BigQuery animal test. I think that's fine for now. Then what we want to do is copy this address. We're going to go back over to Bubble. I'm going to say get all animal data, because that's what this API call is going to do. We're going to just get all of the data of all of the animals that are there. You can make it either data or an action. I'm going to leave it as data. Having it as an action will mean that you get to add an event in the workflow editor if that's what you want, but I'm going to leave it data for now. We're going to put this to post, and we're going to paste in that webhook that we just copied from make. And I'm not going to put any parameters in this example. Then what we're going to do is initialize the call. So initialize it. You'll see you get an error to begin with. That's fine. Don't worry about that. You'll see here it says successfully determined. So that's fine. That means that it's coming through correctly. So now we're going to add a module, and we are going to type in BigQuery. I'm going to say run a query down at the bottom. I'm going to create a connection. Before I do that, let me just show you the BigQuery side of things. So very, very basic. We have just got one table in here within a data set with just a couple of fields, and I think we've got 7 rows of data. So really, really not a lot of data. You'd probably be doing this if you have loads of data. That's what BigQuery is really good at. But in this example, we've just got a very small amount of data just to show you how it's done. Yes, we need to create the connection with BigQuery. So create a connection. You can name whatever you want to. I'm going to leave it as that. I'm going to sign in with Google, and this is very important. It's got to be the Google account that is that you have your BigQuery account with. So for me, it's this one here. Yep. And you have to enter your passwords. You have to sign in through OAuth here. Give it a second, and that'll create that connection. Fine. And then from the project ID, you want to select your project. So we can see that here. So click that. And our data set. And then we should be able to select our table as well. There we go. So this is not a tutorial about how to use BigQuery. I'm assuming if you're using BigQuery for your Bubble application or with your Bubble application, I assume you already know how BigQuery works. There's loads of tutorials out there on how to set up a project within BigQuery. This is if you've already got it set up, very basic one set up. Okay, so that's connecting it to the table. Now I'm going to put in a very simple query here. So I'm just going to say, oh God, if I can type it correctly, there we go, select all from, and then I'm going to put in the name of that table there. I'm just going to select everything, so that's fine. Don't need to fill in any of the rest. Okay, and then we're going to very simply have another webhook, and we're going to have a response. Now, I don't think at this stage we're going to get, we are. We see mappable rows. That's what we want. Sometimes you have to run the query once through before you see mappable rows, but it looks like we've got it here. So in the body, I'm just going to return mappable rows. So that's fine. So we can either click run once, and that's going to allow this to run. If we go back over to Bubble, if we click initialize cool, hopefully, give it a second. There we go. We got our data through. We get, you can see the raw data if we click here and see all of the information that is in BigQuery. If we go over here, this is exactly this data that is here. And then we want to just make sure that all of these are in the right formats. So ID, that needs to be a number. Name, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is going to be a number. Date of birth is also going to be a date. All right, that's fine. So that's great. We can see that we've got data coming in correctly with this API call here. What we're going to do is now we've tested that's correct, and we can see it all goes through and it's all green. We are going to turn this on. We're going to give it a save as well, which means we're not going to have to keep pressing run once every time we want it to run. Then we are going to go to the front end on Bubble. What we're going to do is we're going to take this table here, and we are going to make it of a data type. Oh, I can't remember what I called my API call. Something to do with animals. There it was. Yeah. Get all animal data. And then we're going to say get data from an external API. We're going to use that one we just created here. So the BigQuery animal test, get animal data. Now, for more complicated calls, you can add, where am I? You can add parameters just by adding parameter in here, and that will send information over into make, and then you'll be able to use it within your query. So you'll be able to pull through, if you just want the information of one animal, of one animal's ID, then you can just put in ID as a parameter, and that can come through, and you can use it in the query. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple. So that's returning with the data, which means now within here, we can go and each row's information is going to appear. So current rows get animal data is appearing there. That's because we set the table's data source or the data type to this type here, which is returning from the API. So you should see current row get all animal data. Click that and go ID. I'm not going to worry too much about the formatting here, but I'm going to go through and do this on the front end. So this is going to be the name. Put this in here. This one is going to be the species. And the same for the weight. And lastly, the date of birth. I'm going to format that. There we go. That's fine. Okay, so now if we give this a run or a preview, we should see that it will take just a second to load and pull through that data from BigQuery, but then the information is appearing here. Okay, that's fine. So not all the information is appearing, as I have made a mistake, or I haven't properly set up this table here. Let me fix that. So over here, we want to go to the table. We want to go to, I think it's in rows. Yep, there we go. Take away this set number of rows. You can see at the moment it's 3, and that's why we're only seeing 3 rows here. We'll just take this away. And now if we give that a reload, we can see that hopefully, there we go, that brings through all the data, and we can just use this data as we normally would within Bubble. So we can run operations such as, if we go back here, we can say sort this, sorted by the ID, and descending, I always get confused, descending is no, if we just want to go from low to high, I believe. And then we run that, and this should now order all of the data here. So there we go. So that is a very basic overview of how you can use Make to connect your BigQuery database with Bubble. If you have any other questions about this, then feel free to drop me a message with my information will be in the description, or of course, leave a comment on this video. Anyway, I hope you have found this useful, and I will see you in another video. Bye-bye.